On March 4th, 1918, a Navy officer in Barbados watched the USS Cyclops sail north toward the American coastline. He later filed a report describing Captain Worley's behavior that morning as, quote, most peculiar. It was the last time anyone saw the ship alive. The Cyclops was one of the most powerful cargo ships in the United States Navy, 542 feet long, 309 men on board, bound for Baltimore on what should have been a routine 10-day voyage. She never arrived. No distress signal, no wreckage, no lifeboats, no bodies, nothing. The USS Cyclops simply ceased to exist somewhere in the Western Atlantic, taking 309 men with her. And to this day, not a single piece of physical evidence has ever been recovered. But the disappearance itself isn't the strangest part of this story. The strangest part is the man who was steering the ship.
His name was Lieutenant Commander George Worley, and from the moment you hear about him, something feels deeply wrong. Worley had commanded the Cyclops for years. By official record, he was an experienced officer, but the men who served under him told a very different story. Sailors described a captain who walked the decks at night, in his underwear and a derby hat, screaming at men for imaginary offenses. He imprisoned crew members in the brig for minor violations. He was paranoid, unpredictable, and feared by everyone aboard during wartime. But there was something even more troubling. Worley's real name wasn't Worley. He had changed it years earlier. His original surname was German. And in 1918, with America at war with Germany, that detail did not go unnoticed. Navy intelligence had opened a file on him. There were whispers that Worley sympathized with the enemy, that perhaps he hadn't made a navigational error at all. Now,
the USS Cyclops was a collier, a massive cargo ship built to haul coal to other Navy vessels across the ocean. In early 1918, she was sent to Brazil on a supply run. There, her crew loaded her hold with manganese ore, a dense industrial mineral critical for wartime steel production. The problem, they loaded her with nearly 11,000 tons of it, well beyond her designed capacity. And manganese ore is far heavier than coal, the cargo she was actually built to carry. By the time she reached Barbados for her final stop, one of her two engines had broken down. She was limping north on half power, dangerously overloaded, with a captain under intelligence surveillance. The American consul who met with Worley in Barbados filed a report afterward. He described the captain's behavior as, and this is his exact word, peculiar. The Cyclops left Barbados on March 4th, 1918. No one ever saw her again. She was expected in Baltimore around March 13th. March 13th. No ship. March 14th. Nothing. March 15th. Silence. The Navy dispatched search parties. Radio calls went unanswered. Allied navies were contacted. Ports up and down the eastern seaboard were checked. Nothing. Not a plank of wood. Not a life jacket. Not an oil slick. Not a single trace of a 19,000-ton ship and the 309 men inside her. President Woodrow Wilson, when told of the loss, said only God and the sea know what happened to the great ship. But here is where the story stops being a tragedy and starts being something else entirely. The USS Cyclops had two sister ships, built in the same shipyard, same design, same class. Their names were the USS Proteus and the USS Nereus. In 1941, 23 years after the Cyclops vanished, the Proteus disappeared in the Atlantic Ocean. No distress signal, no wreckage, no explanation. 4 months later, the Nereus disappeared in the same waters. 3 ships, same design, same ocean. All 3 gone without a single trace. Across 2 world wars, spanning 23 years. The Navy investigated all 3 disappearances. They reached no conclusions. At some point, coincidence stops being an explanation.
So, what happened? 4 serious theories have been proposed, and each one raises questions the next one can't answer. Theory 1. She broke apart. Naval engineers have long believed the combination of an overloaded hold, a broken engine, and the wrong type of cargo may have been fatal. Manganese ore shifts when a ship rolls. When 11,000 tons of dense mineral starts moving inside a hull not designed for it, the structural stress can become catastrophic. A ship can break in half and sink in under 4 minutes. Too fast for a distress call, too fast for lifeboats. But weather records for that stretch of the Atlantic in early March 1918 show calm seas. No storms. Nothing that should have broken a Navy warship in half. Theory 2. Captain Worley. Navy intelligence never cleared Worley. His falsified identity, his German origins, his erratic behavior, none of it was ever satisfactorily explained. One theory holds that Worley deliberately sailed the Cyclops off course.
More than 100 years have passed. Sonar technology can now map the ocean floor in extraordinary detail. Deep-sea submersibles have found ships at depths of over 20,000 feet. The USS Cyclops has never been found. Not a single piece of her. If she sank fast, in deep water, she could be sitting on the ocean floor right now, perfectly intact. 309 men still at their posts, preserved in the cold and the dark, waiting. Or maybe Worley sailed her somewhere no one has ever thought to look. Or maybe the ocean simply took her, the way it sometimes takes things, without warning, without mercy, and without leaving a single clue behind. 309 men. No wreckage, no graves, no answers. And a captain who changed his name, falsified his past, and sailed north on a broken ship, into waters that swallowed him whole. The question isn't what sank the USS Cyclops. The question is, did it sink at all? If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Sunken and Buried. Every week, we go looking for what the ocean tried to keep secret. Some of it, we find.